Good morning, good morning, good morning, beloveds. Thank you for joining us. The plural. We became plural this week. In Kitavo, we go to see your priestliness, and in the space of a paragraph, we become plural. Let's see if I'm here. Your priestliness and in the space. Yep. And I love that sense in Kitavo. You come into the priestliness, and within a paragraph, we get up off that thing and become plural. Last week we left when we kitate said, we left our expectations. We were free to come this week. Last week we left singular. It always feels singular when you make that break with expectations. You think you're not the only, certainly the first one of the only ones to have to push on that way. In your courageousness, you have to go this alone, you think. This leaving that we all have to strike in order to earn freedom. This week we join with a great mess of similar pilgrims. They all had to, you know what the plural of pilgrim is mess. They all had to ki tate said. They all had to leave their expectations, their complacency behind. They had to get up off that thing, as the prophet said, and get on with it. You did. You got up off that thing. You got on with it. When you did, you arrived this week in the great swirl, the movement of time, the flow. You entered the flow, and you kitavod. You came somewhere. And when you are telling your story to the priestliness, you became plural. You came into a place you could not have predicted, you did not expect, you could not have imagined, because you were bold. And you kitate said by yourself. You left by yourself. And once you did, you became part of the great freedom walk of human beings. You all kitavod and came into something. You arrived somewhere. Oh, human being, you are strong-willed by your getting up off that thing. And you believed for a while, maybe a long while, you could not do it, but you could do it. And you did. And once you did, we're all joining you there in that journey, and you came into something. Here we are this week. We became plural in a week's time. Don't you think for a moment it's not significant? It's significant. Yesterday we talked about the middle pole of beauty, the resolution in threes, the complement in twos, and the resolve, the synthesis in threes. All paths pass through beauty. I stared into the picture of the 10 sphirot, the 10 energies that flow, until I popped into the diagram. I walked around avenues of connection. Only then did I realize all paths pass through Tiferet, through beauty. At the center, beauty. I know now, begin at the center. I popped out of the diagram as we were finishing the prayers, just in time to speak a prayer of healing. The healing of the spirit and the healing of the body. Prayer words of adjustment for all the brokenness, inner and outer, I experience every day of my life. I wrote that's one of the things I spoke, one of the things that our man Lutzato was doing. He was working on the adjustment of the Shekhinah, he called it. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Lutzato, who we refer to in our book, who gave us humble preparation for the days of awe, this inner growth, humble, and hungry. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So Luzzatto, he visited often with his teacher, but at home in Padua, he acquired only two students who knew his teachings and the extent of his writings. So there was a well-known scholar, Kimchi, that came to Padua and was shown his writings, and Kimchi brought word back to Venice what Luzzatto was doing in Padua. And soon he had a school full of students, Luzzatto did. A few pages of Luzzatto's book were sent to Vienna and then to Vilna. But you know, the memory of the false Messiah was, Shabtai Tzvi was still fresh. The end of the 17th century. Shabtai Tzvi died in 1676. So all things Kabbalistic were suspicious. And Luzzatto had a major detractor. And he was a very prominent guy. Took it upon himself to restore confidence and, to cleanse the community of these, what he considered these corrupting influences. And Luzzatto came to his attention. Uh-oh. And the rabbis of Venice had other complaints against Luzzatto. Oh, my God. So there was a famous name in Venice of a previous generation, and who wrote an anti-Kabbalistic work. And he was also a compulsive gambler, by the way. He lost everything. But still, he retained the support of the community. Yeah, go figure. I can tell you stories, believe me. And Luzzatto's critique of this guy diminished his name in Venice. So, So some of the other rabbis denounced Luzzatto. And they didn't like the idea that he wrote in the spirit of the Zohar, the classic text of Jewish mysticism. So they talked to Luzzatto's teacher, Bassani, tried to distance Luzzatto from the study that he was taken with. Luzzatto was enchanted by the study of Kabbalistic things. And they actually locked his teachings in a casket, oh my God. And his teacher had one of the keys, and the rabbis of Venice had the other key. You can't make this stuff up. So they said, listen, Luzzatto, we'll give you the title that you need, providing that you behave yourself. So Luzzatto wrote more poetry and dramas and elegies. He married the daughter of a famous rabbi, etc. Went into business with his relatives. But the lure of Kabbalistic studies, Kabbalistic notions, was too strong. He began to write Kabbalistic treatises any day. And his teacher, Bassani, he didn't want to monitor him anymore. And the rabbis of Venice denounced him. And oh my God. This was in 1734. Luzzatto, he felt compelled to leave Italy. He had been abandoned by everyone. Maybe not his teacher, Bassani, but so where did he go? Amsterdam. Got a job there. He did what Spinoza did. The Sephardic community offered him a position, and he preferred to support himself independently, so he made his living grinding lenses like Spinoza. Well, there's a lot in his story to learn, but we're learning his book. He leaves his enduring legacy in his writings. Yeah, in his writings. Amen, Luzzatto. Yes, thank you. We had a particularly good session yesterday. I think so too. So we'll close with a piece from Isaiah. We quote Isaiah a lot during these weeks. We read the 7 7 messages of consolation during these weeks from Isaiah. And then some other pieces. I'm listening for the voice of Isaiah. We were sitting on the bench in front of the coffee house, myself and Isaiah. I can't find the blessing in it. This from Isaiah holding a cup of joe. That's when he saw it. Future Jerusalem, rebuilt stronger, built out of the difficulties of the past. Remedy before malady, that's the principle. Vision before failure. Hidden ascent and seed for hope. Always the problem and suffering. I said to Isaiah, I can't find the blessing in it. Proximity of what saves and what corrupts, ascent and descent, what purifies, what defiles, all bound up together. For every descent, a hidden ascent. Sure, it's difficult, said Isaiah, but our aspiration is secret and pure. Our aspiration is secret and pure. Thanks for joining me, my sacred partners on a mission of mercy. We'll be back tomorrow full strength. Full strength. We need all the strength we can gather. Ciao, little babies. Thanks for joining me.